Hi, everybody. Nathan here. Welcome back for week 2 as we continue exploring a couple scenes from Tom Stoppard's Arcadia. If you haven't checked out week 1, please go back, watch that. There's a lot of great discussion already underway. I'm sure we'll just keep continuing that. Tonight we welcome our Jellaby into the mix, and so be very exciting to see how those conversations develop with that character in mind. Just everything else we're going to be working on. Jamie, in a second, if you don't mind, we did this last week. Just a quick intro for the group. You may know some or many of the actors here, but I don't know if you know everybody. And then for people observing and watching, they can learn a little bit more about you. And specifically, if you have any connection to this Stoppard play, or if you've worked on other Stoppard plays, that would be fun to hear. But I think that's it for me. Have a wonderful evening. I'll be listening in. I'll pop back in at the end. Yeah, have a great rehearsal. So that's it. I'll turn it over to Brendon and Jamie, that quick introduction, and then have a great rehearsal session, everybody.
Thanks, Nathan.
Well,
so Jamie, do you want to jump in?
Yes, hello. I'm James Newcomb. People that know me call me Jamie. And I'm comfortable with either one. My relationship with this play is a very interesting one because I was cast to play Bernard in Ashland, and then I turned it down in order to be with my present wife, Ursula Meyer, here in San Diego. And I was cast as Septimus in another production a couple of years later. And I had to turn that down because I was committed to go up to Seattle to do a show. So twice I was cast to do this play, and I didn't get a chance to do it. And it's one of my favorite plays. I just find it extraordinary. Thermodynamics. If you, in this context, things will cool down in LA, I promise, eventually. They heat up and they cool off. So let's pray for the cooling off to come quickly.
Yes,
so
please.
My thoughts are very much right now with all of the people in LA that I know and people. I'm glad, Jeff, to see that you're in good shape. Those of you that live in LA that I don't know, please be safe. And I just it's just overwhelming, it really is. So anyway, my thoughts are very much with that, and the idea that this too shall pass, and we'll learn something from it. What else do I need to? I have never, that I'm aware of, I've never done a Stoppard play. I would love to be involved in a Stoppard play someday. We shall see. I am now with all of you. So
right, exactly.
So
well, I love, Jamie, that you added. I've never done a Stoppard play that I'm aware of, and to me that reminds me of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. You might actually have been part of a Stoppard play unwittingly.
Yes. Yes, maybe. Yeah, from a distance.
Right.
You do that. I could.
You did one in your sleep or something.
Well, I love that you like, it's like Haley's comment. It's you in this play seems to you've come close, and now you get to reconnect with it. And I said last week, Jamie, that I really appreciate what Nathan has been doing these many years with this rehearsal room and being able to bring people together from all over the country to focus on process and have a moment to just give ourselves a few hours to dive into a beautiful text with great artists and let the work itself be the thing. And like you, and like I'm sure like all of us, we're thinking and sending good thoughts to everyone in LA. And I would say one of the things that to me makes this play so resonant years after it was written is one of the many things to me is about empathy and about trying to understand what someone else is going through. The researchers looking back, Thomasina trying to understand the world, Septimus trying to understand Thomasina, Septimus trying to understand Lady Croom. And I think it's to me, it's a chance for us to remember how everything is connected. And whether we're present at a place or not, our thoughts can be there. And I think exploring, and Stoppard is all about science and art and nature and finding connections. So I'm glad you could be here for this, Jamie, and thank you all for coming back for week 2. And Jamie, I want to make sure you got the dramaturgy packet that Dr. Kate created.
I did. Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank
So
you.
I thought, absolutely. Well, thank you, Dr. Kate. And I thought that we spent a little bit we read both scenes last week, kind of back to back, unpacked those a little bit, and then we went back to the first scene, did a chunk of that. And I would love to now start with the second scene, with scene 6, and focus on that for maybe our first hour, take a quick break, and then go back to the first scene. How's that sound, folks?
Great.
Great. So I'll read in the stage directions, and we can just kind of do this with chunks as we go. Scene 6. The room is empty. A reprise. Early morning. A distant pistol shot. The sound of the crows. Jellaby enters the dawn-dark room with a lamp. He goes to the windows and looks out. He sees something. He returns to put the lamp on the table, then opens one of the French windows and steps outside.
Mr. Hodge.
Septimus comes in, followed by Jellaby, who closes the garden door. Septimus is wearing a greatcoat.
Thank you, Jellaby. I was expecting to be locked out. What time is it?
5:30.
That is what I have. Oh, well, what a bracing experience.
He produces 2 pistols from inside his coat and places them on the table.
The dawn, unexpectedly lively. Fishes, birds, frogs, rabbits.
Produces a dead rabbit.
And very beautiful. If only it did not occur so early in the day. I have brought Lady Thomasina a rabbit. Will you take it?
It's dead.
Yes. Lady Thomasina loves rabbit pie.
You were missed, Mr. Hodge.
I decided to sleep last night in the boathouse. Did I see a carriage leaving the park?
Captain Bryce's carriage, with Mr. and Mrs. Chater also.
Gone?
Yes, sir. And Lord Byron's horse was brought round at 4 o'clock.
Lord Byron, too?
Yes, sir. The house has been up and hopping.
But I have his rabbit pistols. What am I to do with his rabbit pistols?
You were locked. You were looked for in your room.
By whom?
By her ladyship.
In my room.
I will tell her ladyship you are returned.
Jellaby, did Lord Byron leave a book for me?
A book?
He had the loan of a book from me.
His lordship left nothing in his room, sir. Not a coin.
Ah, well, I'm sure he would have left a coin if he had one. Jellaby, here's half-guinea for you.
Thank you very much, sir.
What has occurred?
The servants are told nothing, sir.
Come, Jellaby. Does a half-guinea buy nothing anymore?
Her ladyship encountered Mrs. Chater during her night.
Where?
Oh, the threshold of Lord Byron's room.
Ah. Which one was leaving and which entering?
Mrs. Chater was leaving Lord Byron's room.
And where was Mr. Chater?
Mr. Chater and Captain Bryce were drinking cherry brandy. They had the footman to keep the fire up until 3 o'clock. There was a loud altercation upstairs, and
Well, Mr. Hodge,
My lady?
all this to shoot a hare?
A rabbit. No, indeed, a hare, though very rabbit-like.
My infusion.
yes, my lady.
Great. Let's hold there for a moment. So what do we get a lot of information, but also I'm interested to see what are we learning about Jellaby and their relationship? Because something I mentioned last week, Jamie, that to me is really every play I feel like has its challenges, and I feel like this sometimes could be like with Shaw or some other playwrights that can be really intellectual, like to remember where all the chakras are, right? What's at stake besides just the wit and the smart talk, and how high can we make the stakes for everybody? So I'm curious about like what any thoughts from the two of you or the group about what might we glean from these two in this scene, and what's new about this morning? I mean, obviously, besides the things that are happening with the dawn, but what could we potentially explore that might be new in their relationship?
Well, I can say that, like most servants who have served houses for a long period of time, there's nothing that they don't know.
Yeah.
In spite of their appearance of indifference or withholding, but they know everything. They know what's happening in the house, and sorry, this phone is going off, but and certainly knows about Lord Byron and the disruption that he brings. Sorry, I'm gonna.
Apparently, Lady Croom is able to call you even while she's here on the. A servant's life is never.
Confusion.
It's just.
I love that you're like, I know everything going on, and then the bells are ringing like Downton Abbey. Like you can't get a break.
Right. So
yeah,
there's that, and Septimus is, I think, I read this and I thought of Creature in Harry Potter. The Beatrice Lestrange and that the household of that mutters in as he's leaving about the house and everybody in it and what losers they are, and not really aristocrats, and I should be working in a much bigger house with much more prominent people. I don't know if that's the case with him. I think he's probably pretty happy with where he's at, but there's just and there's also a kind of pride in his ability to serve and know what people need ahead of time, like a good stage manager. So but there's a kind of it's just an awareness of what's going on all the time, everywhere.
Right. Well, I wonder about the taking your stage management idea. I mean, to me, what I've noticed is that stage managers, in my experience, choose very selectively who they spill the tea with.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think to me, there's something interesting and juicy about you sharing more than you need to with Septimus, which leads me to think that there's not a lot of people that Jellaby wants to or needs to, share. I think this scene could have been half as long. You know what I mean? But I wonder if there's something fun about
the transaction.
And the fact that you get to share the gossip and the tea, and that maybe Septimus, because also like you, Septimus is a hired gun, right?
No.
So you share that. Neither of you are part of the family, and he's been here now for a while, and I don't get the sense that you have given him a cold shoulder, or somehow he seems to be on the right side of Jellaby, I guess is what I'm saying. And that maybe he could be rewarded with there's this, and even that little fun exchange about the coin, I think is really fun, because that sense of, right, the way you dangle that, and he picks up on the cue, and right away.
It's half a guinea. That's not an insignificant amount of money.
No.
Actually, that's pretty,
Right.
rich. So
Yeah. Which I think is and I think too, Chris, on a tutor's salary, that to me shows the level of stakes of how much you want to know. That by
makes
giving
sense.
him that much money, and I think Jamie, it's real. Maybe it's on you to help the audience clock how much that is to both of you, right?
you're right. Yeah.
And that then we can really understand, like, wow, he really stuck his neck out. So I think, Chris, then it's not just funny, it's actually a little bit maybe more desperate of, seriously, half guinea, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm that's a lot of money I just gave you, dude. You know,
Yeah.
can I get something, a kind of something big, and then it comes, right? And then it probably would have been more if she hadn't come in.
Right. Yeah.
But I like that that Jellaby puts that out there, that opens the door, and you know exactly what the cue is, Chris. But I think the surprise can be, I'll tip you, more than 0 would have been great, right? Because Byron gave him 0. So you have a low bar to cross, but you went way over with that half guinea.
Mm.
And I mean, that to me is kind of interesting, right? The fact that you, in the urgency of the moment, want, spend that to get information.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. I think it also, in my head, it also says something about what transpired overnight and where Septimus is in terms of this transformative near-death experience. So as we talked about last week, that he's not exactly himself either. He's in this new frame of mind, or he's had this bracing experience. Here,
Yes.
take. Here's $20. What can I get?
Yeah, yeah, right. I love that. It goes along with what we were saying earlier last week with you and Jennifer about, like, well, what have I got to lose, right? I mean, it's, in a way, it's only money. That's not what matters right now.
Yeah.
And I like, and Stoppard loves these double entendres, right? Or these double meanings of, what if we hear the pistol shot, we're waiting to see, is he alive? Is he dead? Right? And then when you come in and you say, what a bracing experience, I think we're meant to think the duel, right? And I love that you immediately say it's the dawn. It's nature. It's like I think it's interesting and a great foreshadowing of, you're going to become the hermit of Sidley Park.
Yeah.
Spending all your time in nature. Only in nature.
I imagine that Septimus is not someone who's shot a lot of things either.
It
could also be that he, like, that shot is that he just shot the rabbit, and that is also a racing experience too.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and that you took a life.
For Thomasina.
I mean, I think, yeah, right, for Thomasina. And I love that, Chris, that you're out of your comfort zone, and really you're not someone who takes a life of any kind, of any animal, easily. And you didn't want to go into the duel, but you're doing it. And then he didn't, right? Just so I'm clear on the backstory. So you went out there, right? You were supposed to have pistols at dawn. You decided to stay overnight in the gatehouse. Why? You could have just come from the house at dawn. Why did you decide to spend the night out there?
Man, that's a great question that I wish I'd given more thought to before you asked me.
Well, good thing we're in rehearsal.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's tied to the letter that he left for the lady. Like this confession of his feelings to someone he never really should confess that sort of thing to, and then has to get out. Like, I've done this thing. I can't really stay in this room, in this place. I'm going to move on to the next thing, which in writing the letter, there's a good assumption that I'm not going to walk away from it, or I wouldn't have done that. So
yes.
So
either way, yeah, you're out of the picture either by death, or it's also a great way to avoid seeing what effect it has on her in the moment, because there's a very different experience, right, Jennifer, of like, here's my letter to you, right? We see both versions in Jane Austen, right? Those who receive a letter and can process it emotionally on their own, and then those who are given a message and the person standing there in the room, right? I mean, I'm just adding to what you're saying, Chris, but like it's interesting in Septimus's character when it comes to these matters of the heart. He can take on carnal knowledge, as scary as it is, with Thomasina. That's daunting. But what's more daunting is the letter of your feelings. So you're like, I'm going to place that. I'm either going to peace out permanently or at least peace out temporarily while you read it, digest it. Do you know what I mean? And so even if I do survive, you've already had a chance to look at it.
I'd say the carnal knowledge is a very dry description, right? It's not, there's no emotional content to it. It's, you take the penis, you put it in the, whereas this is as a confession of love is a whole other matter. But if Septimus had not gone outside and spent the night, she would not have found the letter in the room. She would have come in and found him, and he could have been like, oh, hi, you know? So learning that she came into the room looking for him while he was outside, there's also a bit of like, oh, that might have been a miscalculation. If I didn't want her to see it while I was living, because now I know she must have seen it in my room because I left it for her to see if I didn't return, which I didn't last night, but now I've returned and now she's seen it and fuck, you know,
right.
or maybe yay, or whatever the
right. It could go either way, but but you're in that state of uncertainty, right? Like Schrodinger's cat, right? You're in that state of like, where is this tragedy or triumph? And you don't adding to your, you know, bracing experience.
But I feel like he would not have left it if there was any chance of her seeing it while he was still alive. Like I don't think he maybe thought that far ahead of what happens if she finds it because I'm out here. Like either I'm dead and she's read it, or I'm alive and I can tear it up because she hasn't seen it yet.
Right. Which would hopefully be the case, right? Because if she's you don't expect her to be awake at dawn, right? So I think that's a great point. So then you right. So you have, if the Chater didn't explode, right? If all that stuff didn't happen, right? She would have been none the wiser. I love that. And then you could have actually then thrown that into the fire, and then, you know, nothing would have changed. You would have pined like Gatsby, never meeting Daisy. And right. But the one of the big blow ups is, oh, she has seen it and now she's here and we have to deal with that, or we're choosing to deal with it. But I love that, all of that sense of you being out there and really not thinking that there's maybe a good chance you were going to live to tell the tale. So you take yourself out of the house, and therefore you miss all of the chaos that goes on. And the fact that also in the beginning you say, Chris, I was expecting to be locked out. What time is it? So Jellaby, Jamie, you see, right? You come into the room with your lamp, and then you see him outside. Why are you even in the room? Are we starting the day, or are we, or what are you looking for him, or you're muted.
I thought, yes, he was starting the day. I think it's the beginning of the day. It starts early anyway, you know. So
for all the servants, right?
And what's his name left an hour before, so he's
Byron.
He's had to go.
Right.
Oh, so, right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So you've never been to bed.
Well, yes. No, not the first time.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of like whatever the house needs is whatever I'm there for it whenever, you know?
Right.
I mean, it's not, you know, it is that thing. I mean, it's nobody knows what's happening more than I do.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think along with that, Jamie, I think there could be something fun of when you say the house is up and hopping. What if what if this is
Right.
unusually hopping?
Oh, hopping, unusually
For-
hopping for 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. in the morning.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
this is it's an understatement. I think
Yeah.
what, you know, I mean, and so that way, Chris, there's a difference between like, oh, we're interpreting, oh yeah, there's been a little excitement. And the more he unpacks, I think there's some fun, Chris, in wait, what else went on? Wait, how much is what?
Yeah, I mean, a
It-
lot has gone on. A lot of
Yeah.
people had left. Lady Croom's been sneaking around or looking around. There's a lot going on for 5:30.
Yeah, the house has been up and hopping
Yeah.
means that it hasn't stopped. It's not a new thing. It's something that has been going on.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
The and you were missed, Mr. Hodge. Again, is an understatement. I think that I wonder, Jamie, is there some more you can? What if we lead into that of like there's so much behind what I'm telling you of like you don't understand how much you should have been here. And you know, and I think Chris, in your innocence, there's this. Oh, well, that's nice of people.
Huh.
I was missed, right? And Jellaby's like, no, you don't understand.
You were missed at volume.
Right. Yes, exactly. At volume.
At volume.
And Captain Bryce's carriage with Mr. and Mrs. Chater also.
Yeah.
And this is pretty rare for Septimus to see an exclamation point question mark. I just want to flag that because that's pretty. I would encourage you, Chris, see what happens the next time of just letting the flabbergastation come out even more. You know, that the bigger the rugs we can pull out, the better. And then on top of that, we have Lord Byron, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
everybody, the entire retinue is.
There's a lot going on in that house.
And then I love your first question is, what am I going to do with these guns? Which is interesting, you know, like it's like you don't want these guns. So you borrowed these guns of his for the duel?
From Byron,
Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
I certainly don't have any guns.
Right. I love that. And you don't want them. I love that you're like, well, he should have at least stuck around to collect his firearms. Because I don't want these anymore. So it's kind of great to tell us that about Septimus, I'm realizing. Right. And I love that by whom? By her ladyship in my room. And that's kind of Chris, I think that's, you know, potentially exciting, potentially scary. She went to your room. I don't think she's ever been to your, does she know where my room is? You know, there's and then before you can even get any more information from Jellaby, he's about to leave. Right. I think that's really smart of you, Jamie, to be like, I'm not going to say anything more, A, without a tip, or B, without Lady Croom present. Because now it's about to get, right. You already said a certain amount, and now, of course, Septimus is going to want to know more details.
Yes.
I do think that in my room is like, I left that letter to be found. If she went in my room, she found it. I think Septimus clocks that instantly. Like,
yeah, that's great.
Shit, you know.
Yeah, which I love, and that Jellaby is going right over Jellaby. You know, there are things Jellaby knows that you don't, and vice versa. So I love that, Chris. That if you're freaking out and Jellaby has no idea why, what's the big deal?
Right.
About you're like, well, it's a very big deal, and we're going to find out why.
You know, maybe I qualify my earlier statement that Jellaby thinks he knows more about what's going on in the house.
Yeah, I think that's fun, Jamie. Right? When there's like, well, what am I missing? Right? Yeah. What's the, and that could help prompt you decide to go and get. Maybe I should go get Lady Croom. You know, there are things happening here I'm not fully aware of. And then we have this beat about the book, right, Chris? That and this is the book that gets referenced by the academics, right?
This is the poetry. It's Croom's poem that he thinks he's written.
Yeah. So he didn't leave the book, and then we have the coin. I'm sure he would have left a coin if he had one. Then we get the half guinea. You know, thank you very much. What has occurred? The servants are told nothing, sir. I love that way, Jamie. You get to be impressed by the size of the money, but then you first give him that first party line, right? I love that he has to jump over that one little hoop. Like, you know, the standard response is of course we know nothing, right? That's why we stay employed. And then I love that Chris is like, come on.
Yeah.
And then you fold.
I just gave you half a guinea. Come on.
Right.
This isn't the first time, I imagine, that Septimus has bought information from Jellaby either. Like,
well, yeah, but
this is a
perhaps
dance
maybe not to this amount. You know what I mean? There's I think that's, I love that. And then immediately, Jamie, you give up some information. I love that. You know, you encounter Mrs. Chater during the night. And now we have to get this geography, right? This is like the game of Clue, right? Which room, where are people? So, and Jennifer helped me with this too. So you last night, while Chater and Bryce were drinking, right?
Yeah,
By
I
the
decided to
fire.
discuss poetry with Lord Byron in the middle of the night.
And you were about to go discuss poetry with Lord Byron when the door opens and there's Mrs. Chater coming
Mrs.
out,
Chater's coming out.
having already discussed poetry.
Yes, having had a thorough discussion of poetry.
Right. And then what do you imagine happened at that moment, Jennifer?
Well, I think screaming must have occurred because of what we discover later. I believe I probably began the screaming. But also in that, Mrs. Chater's carnal embrace with Septimus is also discovered, because I think that's why I'm headed to Septimus' room.
So how does it get discovered that he hooked up with Chater?
I mean, I think that's part of the screaming match, you know, probably along the lines of, I'm going to tell your husband about your passion for poetry, etc. You know, and then somewhere in that discussion,
all the dirty laundry comes
all
out.
the dirty laundry gets aired, because I think that's what sends Lady Croom to Septimus' room, where she finds the letters. And it just occurred to me, if that's the case, she's got the letters. She's kicked everyone out. It sounds like my husband slept entirely through it. Good man.
Yes. I love that.
But I've shuffled off Byron. I've shuffled off my brother and the Chaters. All of the arrangements have been made. I have read the letters, and it occurs to me, I'm coming into this room. I hadn't thought about it before, but if she hears the gunshot and she happens to know that Chater is in a carriage leaving, and so is Byron. So the only one with guns right now and who wrote me a farewell letter is Septimus.
Oh, so you could think that perhaps Septimus.
It just occurred to me, because I was like, does she hear it? Or what is she,
Yes.
you know, why is she coming into this room?
I love that. And that really puts the stakes really high for you, and the vulnerability of, did Septimus do something with a gun out there?
Did he do something
himself?
rash?
Yes. Oh, that's great.
I'm wondering. I mean, like, it hadn't occurred to me just before reading it this time, but I was like, did she hear that? And then hence why she would ask about the hair when she enters. Because if she's seen the dead hair, it's like, ah, great. Gave me a heart attack to shoot a hair.
Right. So you can still be processing your shock. Yeah. And it's not over, but I love that you're trying to use your wit to.
Yeah. And there's the propriety of Jellaby's existence in the room. Even with all the dirty laundry, we're supposed to pretend that there's decorum.
Yes. Yes.
What
I do believe.
and
let's regain some sense of decorum, shall we?
And the look you give him, I love that also. It's like both of you, everyone's sort of over all the decorum, right? So even when he says a rabbit, I think it's great of like, really? Yeah. Are we gonna do that? No, no, I'm not gonna. You're right. Now is not the time to get into this
Semantics? We're
the
doing semantics.
semantics, right? And I love you want to have it both ways, Chris. No, no, I will give you that as a hair. I will say it's very rabbit-like.
It is very.
right?
It is. I mean, it is.
And that's when your cue, Jamie, is to go, okay, I'm gonna go.
I
You know,
know.
they don't need me. But I think you wanting your infusion too here means, I mean, tell me what you think, Jennifer, but I feel like, first of all, if you're getting over your nerves still, right? The shock of what happened, and you need that to calm down, but it also implies to me that we're going to be here for a moment, right?
I'd
So
like to
maybe it's
discuss
interesting.
these, young man.
Right. So I feel like Chris, you know, like the fact that she orders her infusion to be brought into the room,
Yes.
to me, there's a sign of make yourself comfortable.
Hmm.
And then at the moment Jellaby leaves, I think there's something fun, Jennifer. Can we explore this sense of there's a certain amount of still decorum while Jellaby's there, and the moment he leaves, you can go right for him, right? Go
Great.
right for the jugular on how dare you.
Great.
And that way, that allows Chris and Septimus to be kind of thrown off balance again. You know, he thought we might sort of slowly on-ramp into a genteel discussion. But I think you taking the initiative is a way to throw him off balance, right? To get the
Not
real.
with this much adrenaline running in me, sir.
Exactly. Can we try that from right before you come in? How about I'm halfway down on 72. Jellaby, her ladyship encountered Mrs. Chater during the night. Is he around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Her ladyship encountered Mrs. Chater during the night.
Where?
Oh, on the threshold of Lord Byron's room.
Ah. Which one was leaving and which entering?
Mrs. Chater was leaving Lord Byron's room.
Where was Mr. Chater?
Mr. Chater and Captain Price were drinking cherry brandy. They had a footman to keep the fire up until 3 o'clock. There was a loud altercation upstairs, and
Well, Mr. Hodge,
My lady?
all this to shoot a hare?
Rabbit? No, indeed, a hare, though very rabbit-like.
My infusion.
yes, my lady.
How dare you?
I cannot be called into account for what was written in private and read without regard to propriety.
Addressed to me.
Left in my room in the event of my death.
What earthly use is a love letter from beyond the grave?
As much, surely, as from this side of it. The second
Wait,
letter, however,
let me hold there for a second.
Yeah.
I just want to see what happens one more time, this time from the My Infusion. And what struck me, I think, just now was I want to see what happens, Chris, if she's going to go there, you meet her at the net, play the net tennis-wise with her.
Okay.
Because I think what if the gloves are off for both of you? Because that's really intense for both of you. When you say as much surely as from this side of it, it's like, you know,
Okay.
take that.
Sure.
Okay.
So how about from just My Infusion?
My infusion.
Yes, my lady.
How dare you?
I cannot be called into account for what was written in private and read without regard to propriety.
Addressed to me?
Left in my room in the event of my death.
What earthly use is a love letter from beyond the grave?
As much surely as from this side of it. The second letter, however, was not addressed to your ladyship.
I have a mother's right to open a letter addressed to you, addressed by you to my daughter, whether in the event of your life, your death, or your imbecility. What do you mean by writing to her rice pudding, when she has just suffered the shock of a violent death in our midst?
Whose death?
Yours, you wretch!
Oh, yes, I see.
I do not know which is the matter of your ravings. One envelope full of rice pudding, and the other of the most insolent familiarities regarding several parts of my body, but I have no doubt which is the more intolerable to me.
Which?
Oh, aren't we saucy when our bags are packed? Your friend has gone before you, and I have dispatched the harlot Cheta and her husband, and also my brother for bringing them here. Such is the sentence, you see, for choosing unwisely in your acquaintance. Banishment. Lord Byron is a rake and a hypocrite, and the sooner he sails for the Levant, the sooner he will find a society congenial to his character.
It has been a night of reckoning.
Indeed, I wish it had passed uneventfully with you and Mr. Cheta shooting each other, with the decorum due to a civilized house. You have no secrets left, Mr. Hodge. They spilled out between shrieks and oaths and tears. It is fortunate that a lifetime's devotion of the sporting gun has halved my husband's hearing to the ear he sleeps on.
I'm afraid I have no knowledge of what has occurred.
Your trollop was discovered in Lord Byron's room.
Ah, discovered by Mr. Cheta.
Who else?
I'm very sorry, madam, for having used your kindness to bring my unworthy friend to your notice. He will have to give an account of himself to me, you may be sure.
Great. Can we just hold there for a second? So that's great. That's great, folks. So let's talk about what happened there with the two of you. I think there's something juicy when the gloves came off and you both just kind of went for it in a way that's been kind of pent up. This moment of what struck me for both of you is when you said it's been a night of reckoning, what jumped out at me was you've been watching her and everyone fawn over Byron, right? It's like the cult of Byron. And what I heard this time, Chris, was, wow, finally, people can see the bullshit artist. Finally,
Yeah.
you know, even if you and her never hook up, it's like that alone is satisfying. Right? The fact that, yes, send him off to the Levant. Good, but you can't believe it because 12 hours ago he could do no wrong.
Right.
Right? Yeah. And everyone was fawning. So I think it's fascinating to hear how extreme she's been. It's like kicking him to the curb and he's a piece of trash. And so I just think there's something fun you could explore more, Chris, of like, I like these epiphanies we're having. You know, does that make sense to you, Jen?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It's the fact that like when she turns, man, it's like I never liked him. I think he's a rake and a hypocrite. Like there's not even like any reference to, you know, he had good parts. No.
No, he didn't anymore, in retrospect.
We've revised history, you know. So what jumped out of the two of you for that chunk, which I think is so raw and beautiful.
Well, I think she's still got a whole bunch of anger and needs an outlet. I'm still mad and I've sent everyone away that I can.
Yes.
And my husband's still asleep.
Yes. Well,
so I'm going to find Septimus.
And not just anger, but also libido.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of pent up energy that's part rage and part like and horniness. Like you were on the cusp of hooking up with Byron,
planned.
Right? And now everyone is gone, but you are not satisfied.
And I think there's this extra level of, I don't think Lady Croom at this point has considered her interest in Septimus, but if this Chater woman was with both Byron and Septimus, we very dislike her. We very dislike, and it, you know, like, and then conflicted because I find this letter seemingly to Lady Croom out of nowhere from Septimus. So that's a lot of information. But I feel like I can hold him responsible for Lord Byron and being in my house, and so I shall.
Yes, yeah, and I love that. And the section about the letter too. What I love that as you're exploring Jen, both verbally and physically, it's starting off as a weapon and then becoming the fan, and the sense of needing to cool down. And I think there's an opportunity you can even see what happens if you is there a moment of more of the desire popping through before she shuts it down? Because I think it's
Yeah, I
helpful
think
for you
at
and
least
him.
in my imagination, he's a very good writer.
Yeah.
Septimus.
I think so.
And isn't that part of the point of this play is writing is an erogenous zone?
Yeah.
Words are an aphrodisiac, and I think it maybe is that help you turn your focus on him in a new way, because that's also why you love. I mean, yes, Byron's handsome and he's he's roguish, but also he can write like freaking nobody's business. So what I love is people. I mean, that's not Mrs. Chater's MO, but it seems like it's yours. So
Yeah.
the fact that you've read this letter now of like, oh well, now I have to think of you in a different way, because if you can write like that, what else can you do?
I was also curious, just this is very nerdy, but Jen, which of the letters she opened first?
Mm,
Do you
what's
know,
your
would she
instinct?
normally
Yeah.
have opened a letter to her daughter,
Mm-hmm.
but considering the content of the evening? But if she opened the letter to herself, to Lady Croom first, and knows the contents of that, then yes, you're going to tear the heck open. What the heck is he writing to my young
Mm-hmm.
daughter? If this is what he wrote to me, what has he
Right.
written to my young daughter? Yes,
And
I'm
then I
going to
love
bust
that
that
you're up,
open.
and then you run right into rice pudding.
And then it's rice pudding. That's like, what is happening with this man?
Yes.
You know?
And how dare you be so callous? So then your new problem is, well, if it wasn't sexual, then you're discussing rice pudding at a time when she should be in mourning.
Yes.
So that doesn't show a lot of maturity on your part. One way or the other, you are violating my daughter. But in the case of the rice pudding, it feels very, shocking for you to do that to her. And I love that Chris, you feels like you're half step behind of like, wait, did someone die and I'm not aware of?
Yeah,
Like, no, it's your death.
You.
Keep up.
but I didn't die. Yeah. I think that point of which letter did she read first? It's interesting to think if she read the rice pudding one first.
What?
And that was like, well, what's in it? Oh my God. like it's a whole other, oh my God.
Yeah. It's just interesting to see like how her evening has played out.
Yes.
That's a roller coaster.
I'm curious did she go to Byron's room of her own accord? Or
How do you mean?
Was she invited to Byron's room by him?
Oh, I see. Or did she take the initiative?
As the lady of the house, I have certain.
Sure.
I can go wherever I want. It's my house, so I'm going to go here, and is met by the trolley.
Mhm.
Oh,
Or
that's
was
interesting.
some sort of invitation and went and still finds this other woman coming out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm inclined to guess invitation because of the way she says he's a rake and a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
The hypocrite makes me think it was by invitation.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah.
What
do you think, Jeff?
I'm frankly of the other camp, that she goes on her own. And that's why they run into, I think Byron might have arranged things a little better if he knew they were.
Oh, I actually assumed that Lady Mrs. Chater took her own initiative.
See, that's what I thought. I thought that was my instinct, that he had always planned to meet with Lady Croom, but the Chater horned in, so to speak. And
this is, not to interfere in anybody else's character development, but
no, please.
It makes Lady Croom, if she's the one who's even more been made the fool of because she went on her own initiative, and this other woman is coming out, it seems that might help with the altercation that everybody hears throughout I don't know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it can go either way. It's just that's the way I feel it. Yeah.
But either way, I think it helps you, Jen, feeling embarrassed, right? And that's not something you're used to feeling. Like up until
Yep.
this, the whole play, we've always seen her. She can handle landscapers. She can handle music teachers, Byron, everybody, right? And so this is the first time we watched her with egg on her face and feeling so vulnerable and humiliated
Yes.
in a way. And though you have, by course correcting, by banishing everyone from the Garden of Eden, right? Like this, you basically saying this did not happen.
No.
This will never be spoken of, and but it's because you put yourself out there
Mm-hmm.
one way or the other, and the fact that now you're still, that's only an hour ago.
Yeah.
Dr. Kate, did you have any thought on what we're chatting here?
Well, I've been mentally going down the rabbit hole still on money, thinking about that half guinea and how much it's worth. And what he's trying to get with that amount of money. So Brendon, you mentioned that it's a lot of money, but in 1809, the salary of a tutor or a governess would have been about 25 pounds, and a half guinea is about a half a pound.
Yeah.
So for Septimus, it's like a week's salary. So like that's a lot of money. What is he trying to get in that minute? And like he doesn't, like he gets a little bit of information before Lady Croom comes and interrupts. So I'm wondering for Septimus, I'm thinking about like what his event is, what's happening for him with that money and with Jellaby, and then how it's interrupted by Lady Croom. And he's basically spent a ton of money to get very little information. And does that affect the energy in the room?
Well, and the fact that I think along with that, Kate, that the thing when I'm looking back at that exchange, Chris, I keep coming back to what am I to do with his rabbit pistols? And Jamie, you don't answer that. You go straight to you were looked for in your room by whom? By her ladyship. In my room. Here's some money, essentially. You know, I can see why you'd want to pay some money to get like, well, wait. Tell me more about her going to my room. Because that to me is like you were saying, Kate, something has to prompt him to spend a week's salary. And it feels like the only thing that's particularly juicy that happens 5 lines earlier is Lady Croom looked for you in your room in the middle of the night.
Right.
Well, I actually, the next thing I asked about is the book.
Right. But that's true. Though I guess what I'm struggling with is like, why would you what's the bribe for Jellaby about? You know.
Well, I'm wondering, did I put something in the I can't remember off the top of my head if I've put anything in the book.
I think the challenges are in the book, right?
Oh,
the written
right.
challenges.
Yes.
Yes.
Aren't they?
That's true. So you could be wanting them to track to get hold of those too. Yeah. The and the fact, and when he talks about the back on 23, I have no doubt which is more intolerable to me, and I think that was great, Chris, of leaning in on the witch, of like actively sort of goading her, you know, like, well, I mean, well, if you're gonna bring that up, tell me once and for all, which is more intolerable, and she doesn't answer you, you know, But I think what's fascinating is, to me, I wonder, as I'm watching this, Chris and Jen, I think he's acting in a more saucy way than Avery has. He's acting Byronic. He's kind of pushing things in a way I feel like Chris Septimus never has. You've been really good. You've behaved yourself well. You've stuck to the rules of the game. And tonight is a different Septimus.
I don't have anything to lose anymore. I assume I'm out. I have to go. I have no reason to be careful, which sort of makes me like Byron, who is just uncareful anyway.
Right. Well, Jeff, I see you wanting to say something. You're muted. Still muted.
just talking to myself here.
Oh,
I'm just nodding in agreement to how everything, everything can be possible. All these different things can be
yeah.
possible.
It's great to see these two Septimuses seem side by side, because I feel like as challenging and as exciting as Septimus is in the first scene with Thomasina, as I'm watching the scene between you two, this feels like a man with nothing to lose. And the fact that here's a woman who is seeing, you've already seen him write something. You've witnessed this writing, Jen, and now he's somebody who is being pretty bold with you, right? Aren't we saucy? And I don't know if you've ever associated that word with Septimus before. So like a week ago, we talked about wonder, right? So could part of the wonder be the two of you and you looking at him in this new way of, so wait, this is Septimus 2.0? Who is this now?
Again, this is, so much of the play is this. It's heart and gut. I mean, head and gut. So we're getting a lot of his head in the first scene, and how clever he is and how much he knows, all that. It's wonderfully witty that way. And this one seems more sort of groin oriented for both of them, And this is the love that hurts, when he says, oh no, sex is much nicer than love. It's much easier. It doesn't hurt so much.
Yeah. Well, and
again,
Jen, how do you,
because he is saucy. He's a little uppity.
Yeah. Well, and that sense of being a little braver, it's interesting to me, Jen, when you say, aren't we saucy when our bags are packed? And then how do you get from there to your friend is gone before you? Can you help me with that?
Yeah, so he is being saucy, and he should be under the assumption that he is going to be fired. So when your bags are packed, because this is behavior that would get you kicked out. And so I am informing him that you will be following. You are all fired. Like everybody out. So that's where I'm going with like the you're flirting with me as you pack your bags. Bye. Because I got rid of him and even kicked my brother out. I kicked my brother out for his poor company. So you're going
to add to that, you say Lord Byron, such is the sentence for choosing unwisely in your acquaintance, banishment. What could some of this be? You are going to ask him to choose?
It could be,
right?
Although I would say, to me, the
go
double is your poor judgment in Byron, but also your poor judgment in Mrs. Chater.
Right. So
I think
there's
in
a
that,
reckoning.
like in this case, it's both like you chose unwisely,
right,
on both counts. Bye.
Well, but that's what I think is interesting, is that you haven't yet said bye. You are laying the groundwork to say goodbye. But I like that you're saying, you're sort of, it's like the game show, right? The Lady or the Tiger. You're pulling this curtain back and going, okay, so if one chooses Chater and Byron, one will be banished.
Yes.
Explain. You have 30 seconds.
Yes. No, I think she would very much like an argument on the subject.
Yeah.
I think she would like to be talked out of it.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's what yes, exactly.
Yes.
Because it
gives me a reason to let you stay.
to let you stay. And because he could easily defend Byron, right? Lord Byron is a rake and hypocrite. The sooner he sails for the land, more congenial to his character. And you're baiting him, they're supposedly good friends. So it makes sense to see Septimus go, my lady, I think that is unfair. I think you've been extreme. I will now take my leave, right? Because I think you're purposely putting down red meat to see, all right, I pretty much called him every name in the book. Are you going to agree with me, or are you going to defend your hypocrite friend? And he hasn't given you his decision, he gives you it's been a night of reckoning, but the clock is still running, right? He hasn't actually Like you're still waiting. So are you pro or anti Byron? And pro and anti Chater?
Hmm.
And then I love on the next page, you push further. You have no secrets left, Mr. Hodge. I mean, it can't be, this is the most blatant we've been in some ways the whole play. They spilled out between shrieks and oaths and tears. Thank God my husband didn't hear any of this, or you might not be alive right now. But it's another provocation, I think, too, right? You have no secrets left. So are we going to stay on? Are we going to be truthful?
Right. Right.
What
Which
do you
I think is
want?
also letting him know, I also know about you and Mrs. Jader,
Yes.
bluntly.
Yes.
So in that, like, that is also now revealed.
Right. And your response, Chris, is, I have no knowledge. I'm afraid I have no knowledge of what has occurred, which is not true. Right? Because courtesy of Jellaby, you know a little bit of what's occurred.
I have no firsthand knowledge.
Exactly.
I was outside.
Right. And so then and I love that your trollop, she's not a name anymore. I love that and not the trollop, your trollop
Yes.
was discovered in Lord Byron's room. Discovered by Mr. Chater. So I love, Chris, now knowing what you know from Jellaby. You're gonna hold her feet to the fire and say, so are you gonna be truthful?
No.
Yeah.
And I love that you guys answer a question with a question. Who else do you want to volunteer a name?
Hmm.
Because you know what will happen if you do.
Hmm.
And then I think this is so beautiful, Jen, is that then finally, Chris, you choose what side, right? I'm very sorry, madam, for having used your kindness to be my unworthy friend to your notice. He will have to give an account of himself to me, you may be sure. What do you think? That seems to be moving the needle in the right direction, right, Jen?
Well, it's interesting. I'm reading the next stage direction, which says, before Lady Croom can respond to this threat.
Yeah.
So I think there is an implied threat to that. If I'm understanding it correctly, and I would love to hear other thoughts on it, because what I interpret as the threat is, well, Lord Byron has a sort of a side of the story too. He's my friend. I could ask him what happened.
Oh.
No,
Oh no, I feel like
No?
I pulled him
Okay,
to
great.
that's not what that means.
yeah.
Great.
What do you think, Jeff?
Well, it seems to me, what I know of the language at that time, when he says he'll have to answer to me, that means I'll kill him. I'll challenge him.
Oh, okay.
The threat to
Okay.
Byron.
It's a duel.
So
Yes.
it's
The threat to
Jeffrey's
will
me
do
right. That's a
him.
challenge for a duel.
is to Byron. He's basically, it's like,
okay.
this is kill Claudio. Okay, I'll do it.
Great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's fun.
And that's what I think.
Yes.
But the
Which-
language
which-
he'll have to answer to me is a challenge to a duel.
Yeah.
Okay,
Which
great.
is a very
Thank you.
extreme response too.
Hmm?
Like that's kind of a comes a bit out of nowhere from the exchange that's just happened between us. Like I'm going from, we're going from, I'm afraid I have no knowledge of this, to I'm actually, I'm really sorry about that. I'm gonna kill the motherfucker for that.
I think it's a sign of he's making she said, choose wisely.
Mhm.
And I think, and he said, this is my choice.
Yeah.
This is my choice.
Yeah.
I will kill my friend for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And which raises everything up so that we have
Yeah.
the whole rest of this. I mean, there's a lot of scene to go still.
But
Yeah.
there's like a series of impulsivity, you know.
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
throws these things. I'm starting with the half crown or half
Mhm.
guinea, that it's like it's not thinking, like you said before, Jeff. It's coming from the groin. It's not coming from the head. There's no rationality to this, and it's all extremes.
Mhm.
And it's a laddering of impulsive extreme.
Mhm.
And playing chicken with each other too, right? There's a
Well,
sense
yeah,
of,
yeah.
I went here and then I'll go there and I'll meet you and I'll meet you and they don't have time to really like be rational about it. You're right. And I think if they're going to go somewhere, they're going to double down. So I think I think, as you said, Jeff, it makes sense to me, Chris, if like, as she is saying, there's no secrets left. This man treated me abominably. You have to choose, and it has to be extreme, one way or the other. If you choose badly, you will be banished forever from my company and everyone I know. If you decide to be, then if you choose not to go that way, Chris, you have to show her there's no ambivalence. There's no kind of sort of, I'm disappointed in him, because she just was the Old Testament God there in her speech, right? She cast Adam and Eve out of Eden. So that's the woman you're dealing with right now, is like not in half measures. So you respond strongly and passionately, and that might be the only thing that registers with her right now. You're all in or you're all out. But that can be a nice surprise for you, Jen, that impulsiveness, like Jamie said, of like, he goes there, and I think it'd be kind of fun to explore, Chris, of this coming out of you and maybe you not realizing, oh shit, I just challenged him to a duel.
Yeah.
And before either of you can fully process that, here comes Jellaby.
And tea time.
Right. And you have to sit on that.
You're infused. Yes.
Right. Like Gwendolyn and Cecily, you have to be like, so much I want to say. And
exactly.
the
That's
servants
the playwright coming in, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, this is a great moment. I'd like to can we take a quick 5 and let's or 5-ish. Let's come back at 9:15 my time, which is 5:15 your time, and we'll circle back to the beginning. Thanks, everybody.
Great. Thank you. And then I'm gonna. Brendon disappeared.
I'm here.
I'm listening.
Oh, and I'm going to take my leave.
Yes. We will see you next week.
Okay.
Oh my God, this is so much fun. I'm loving this so much.
It's so great.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see you all next week.
All right. To be continued.
All right. Bye.
And we're back.
Hello.
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 Before we pick up on page 8, just before Jellaby comes in, I had, if you don't mind me, Téa, I just would love to ask any thoughts you had on all the things you just witnessed. And we've talked a lot about you in that first hour, but about Thomasina, but just from the outside, any things you wanted to share on that other scene?
I was just thinking about the subtlety but the non-subtlety of the language that the playwright is using, that is just so, and this is my first time, well, my second time now, just like looking and reading, kind of digesting it all. So I'm just kind of seeing what, how things are being laid out. And it's just so calculated in every way. And I love what Jen and Chris and Jamie are doing with the characters. It's just yeah, it's awesome to watch. And I think the funny thing was when Jen was talking about the letters and like the rice pudding. I know that we're gonna come back to the rice pudding topic in this scene, but just like how different that scene is to my relationship with Septimus in the first scene, and just like the arc of things. So it's so interesting to see and watch and be a part of it. So yeah, it was great.
I hadn't thought of this before, but just when you mentioned the rice pudding again, you could say that a part of this play is all about our appetites, right? And how do we want to feed ourselves in every part of ourselves? And for Thomasina, I love the obsession with rice pudding. I mean, like they're like, yes, rice pudding is the best, and it's so simple in some ways. Like she's a genius, but she's also like, I live for rice pudding. And then in the later scene, when they're adults, it gets so much more complicated about appetites and am I allowed to have this? Am I ashamed of this? There are rules. And for Thomasina, it's like rice pudding is like that makes it the best day ever.
Yeah, simple as that.
And now that you bring it up, the other thing about the rice pudding metaphor or image is that my answer to it is that things just get more and more complicated and mixed up, and you can't go back. And
Yes.
and in this morning scene that you were just working on, that's what's happened. I mean, things have gotten so complicated, and there's kind of no way to straighten it out. You can't unstir the pudding.
Yeah.
Again,
Yes.
it's appetite and time travel. It's, head and groin all happening. That's what I love about this guy.
Yeah.
He mixes it all together,
Yeah.
I just noticed that.
Well, let's I just never knew when we were about to start this a week ago how much of our time would be spent talking on rice pudding, which is amazing to me. I have no notes on that. I think it's so beautiful. Just going back, let's go back to the top of 8. This is about where we left off. And a quick question for you, Jeff. After she says, I shall never do without thinking of you. Thank you very much, my lady. Was Mrs. Chater down this morning? No. Tell me more about the sexual congress. Just to ask sort of a blatant question, but why do you instigate that? Why do you want to know? What's that about?
I hadn't. Sorry. No, I'm not muted. I hadn't thought too much about it. I thought it, I guess, in a kind of simple way, I was just wondering if she, I don't know, if she's in a state about what happened yesterday, about the carnal embrace.
Right, in the gazebo. So that was just yesterday, right? And so if she's come down this morning, you were up earlier than Mrs. Chater, right? But THOMASINA was at breakfast.
That's where you heard all this, right? In the kitchen.
Right, in the kitchen. And then if Mrs. Chater was down this morning, what kind of state she's in, that makes sense to me. And was she doesn't seem like the most subtle person, I guess. I'm gathering about Mrs. Chater.
Mrs. Chater,
so
apparently
right.
not.
So maybe it's, like, what is she in any kind of state that might call attention to anything that happened?
Has she given it away?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Which is great. And then she gives you the good answer, which is no, right? So that's good news.
Yes.
That she hasn't been down probably.
Oh, and that's good, because that makes me think, so if Mrs. Chater hasn't blown the gaff or told what's going on, if there's no sign from her, that helps sort of motivate or inform this line. So much for Mr. It's Noakes who's the snake in the garden. He's the one who's given it away.
Yes.
Her, right?
Yes, that's right. Oh, that's
so
great.
That helps inform that.
Right. So she's off the hook, right? And it's actually, and then,
I mean, a lot of this. I'm talking genuinely with THOMASINA because I like her so much, but I'm also thinking about, he's thinking about, how do I deal with this thing? How much trouble am I going to get into?
Right. Well, because you did it in a gazebo that could have, it was indiscreet. It was not that it was like necessarily in the middle of the open lawn, but still, it wasn't in a room.
No.
So I think that's something it's you're exposed, and I think that puts you in a tricky place because of this. It does,
but it's all, as far as I'm concerned, it's all her. She literally
ran you to ground.
and it's interesting that they're only espied because of Noakes's theodolite, which is there on the table. It's a sort of telescope thing, right? So he's laying things out. So it's like it's kind of far away from everything.
Right. Normally, so that's why you thought it would be safe. Yeah, that it's enough of a speck on to me, it implies how big Lady Croom's estate is, that you can see it, but you can't really pick people out with the naked eye.
Yes.
But if you have a telescope,
damn Age of Enlightenment instrument.
Damn you, Age of Enlightenment.
Damn you, Age of Enlightenment.
Hey, while we're still talking about locations, do we know why he slept in the boathouse?
Oh, you mean from the previous scene?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I think what Chris was sharing was that it was about connected to the letters. That he didn't want to be there when the letters, this was sort of, he was leaving his kind of last will and testament to THOMASINA and Lady Croom, and then being away to had the duel probably to die, but not wanting to be in the house. That's
Yeah, I was sort of connecting
that's-
it to the gazebo. Is the boathouse another hookup spot?
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
yeah, yeah. I think there are probably plenty on a country estate. No?
Big estate, like you said.
Right. Well, what if we start with was Mrs. Chater down this morning? Could we go from there? The top of 8.
My top of 8. Oh yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, my lady. Thank you very much, my lady. Was Mrs. Chater down this morning?
No. Tell me more about sexual congress.
There is nothing more to be said about sexual congress.
Is it the same as love?
Oh no, it's much nicer than that. I am teaching Jellaby.
Beg pardon, Mr. Hodge. Mr. Chater said it was urgent you receive his letter.
Oh, very well. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chater asked me to bring him your answer.
My answer? Well, my answer is that, as is my custom and my duty to his lordship, I am engaged until 11:45 in the education of his daughter. When I am done, and if Mr. Chater is still there, I will be happy to wait upon him in the gun room.
I will tell him so. Thank you, sir.
Folds the letter, places it.
What is for dinner, Jellaby?
Boiled ham and cabbages, my lady, and a rice pudding.
Oh, goody.
Well, so much for Mr. Noakes, putting himself forward as a gentleman and a philosopher of the picturesque, a visionary who can move mountains and cause lakes. But in the scheme of the garden, he is the serpent.
When you stir your rice pudding, Septimus, the spoonful of jam spreads itself round, making red trails like the picture of a meteor in my astronomical atlas. But if you stir backward, the jam will not come together again. Indeed, the pudding does not notice and continues to turn pink, just as before. Do you think this is odd?
No.
Well, I do. You cannot stir things apart.
No more you can. Time must needs run backward. And since it will not, we must stir our way onward, mixing as we go, disorder, out of disorder, into disorder, until pink is complete, unchanging, and unchangeable. And we're done with it forever. This is what is known as self-determination or free will.
Great. Let's hold there for a moment. So we got, what's going on with the letter here? Let's go back to 8. So is this the challenge from Chater?
Yes, well, it's the beginning of the
challenge.
Beginning of the challenge, because he'll come in a minute and say, I asked you to come see me, and
right,
but he didn't quite say
right,
and then he goes into the you were what is it? What is it? You were with my wife. I demand satisfaction, and then I say your wife demanded satisfaction. I can't spend all my days satisfying the Chaters.
Oh, it's so great.
Great. So it's not the actual challenge, but it's
right.
like,
okay.
Come and meet me immediately in the gun room.
Okay, great. So
and my response is, I'm teaching until 11:45. I'll go when I'm done.
Right. So the one thing I would just offer, Jeff, is there any value in letting the gun room kind of throw Septimus just a little bit, not to tip our hand too much, but it's just strange place to meet. Right.
Very good. Yes.
And it does, I think, for Jamie, for you and Jeff, what struck me that time was it seems like Stoppard is showing us that the normal MO is, and the surprise is, they are never interrupted. You know, that there's a real sense of what is happening. Like, this was our sacred time. So I think, Téa, for you as well, I think there can be that needle scratch of what
Yeah.
this was always uninterrupted time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think Lady Croom was probably behind that, to be like, we are giving them this beautiful room for 3 hours every morning after breakfast. So I think that Jeff and all three of you can lean into that more of
Yeah.
like, what is happening? Like, I don't know why I have to even tell you this. You know what this is. And that way, Jamie, it's like, yes, but this is exceptions. I was told to wait, right? That's why I think there's something fun, Jeff, about
Yeah.
your two thank yous, because that second one, I wonder if maybe it's not so much upset as why aren't you leaving? You
Yeah.
know,
Thank you.
like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you know, it's
And-
one
and
thing.
that-
It's yeah. Go ahead.
And that first thing too. Well, no, it's just to. I agree with what you say, that the I'm teaching Jellaby is as much like. You know, I'm teaching. This is weird. Why are you coming in?
Right. Right.
It's not just annoyance. It's that it's
Yeah.
too, like you said, it's not normal.
And then then it's not enough that he comes in to give you a letter. Okay, that's strange. But then the new surprise is you're still here.
He has to wait.
Right? Not that this can't wait for another hour.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I mean, we've been here for a little while, so it's not, you know. And then the third weird thing is, oh, I'm supposed to meet him in the gun room. Okay, you know, and then and so here's the thought, Jamie and Téa, what if we explore? How would you feel, Jamie, if like if you know, I feel like the whole family is pretty charmed by Thomasina, and servants included. So what if you decide to tell her, spoiler alert, about the rice pudding just to see her react?
Oh yes, that's very good.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't get many pleasures on the day,
No,
but
no,
like
no, that's very good. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like it's
not
like
it's not an ordinary day. It's a rice pudding day. Yeah,
right.
evening.
Exactly. And Téa, I think you can go more nuts with that. Yes, right? Like, we have to see the 13-year-old geek the F out,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? It's like, because I think that's part of it too, is like we have to keep that dichotomy between like, oh my God, that's so great. Okay, what's the deal with
Yeah.
like time? What's also the deal with like not stirring? Like, so, and I know we're just exploring this and making sure we're clear on things, but as you get more comfortable, Téa, with her and her thought process, and in no way am I saying like we should rush, but I would encourage you to see what happens if she allows herself sometimes to run down the hill.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Just keep on going.
That she's just like, but what about this? But like so that it's a need that is kinesthetic.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel
but explain the jam.
that.
Like
Yeah.
you've been thinking about this for months. And so like, since Into is triggered by Jellaby going, guess what we're having? Excellent. Okay, we're talking about the jam.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna go through another night of having the jam and keeping these questions to myself.
Yes. Beautiful.
Right? That way we keep her still like, she's asking these huge questions, but she's asking them as a 13-year-old who is like, tell me yesterday.
Yeah. I already
Like,
needed to know. Yeah.
yes. And like, why, and you're dropping on your duties to tell me this sooner. Like, right? And like, the more and I think you can have more fun, Téa, with like, but and when he's like, oh, that's not weird. No, it is weird, dude.
You can't unstir
How can,
things. That's
right? How,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's strange. You can't. And then he gives you this new way to think of it. And I think that, you know, I think then Jeff, you can have fun with meeting her. Part of the fun of being with Thomasina, I think, is I think there's a part of Septimus that is both a boy and a man, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
let yourself geek out too, so that if she's going there and rattling the cage, I think you can have fun like meeting her in whatever way you can to say, yeah, but remember time, right?
Yeah.
And then that way it allows you to go, oh crap, right.
Yeah. Like
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
And it is great. Yeah, that's very good. because it is bold. I mean, it's a very sophisticated adult answer. You can't make time go backwards.
Right.
That's the only way that would work. And then he gives you this kind of nihilistic version of it's just disorder into disorder into disorder, but still, you know, it's something that she could understand. But yes, I mean, I totally agree.
It matches her experience, right? You give her that scientific, that's what makes him such a brilliant teacher. You put it in a term she can understand. And then also, like a teacher, Jeff, I would encourage you to explore more. This is known as free will or self-determination. You know, there are times as a teacher, you're saying something that's just for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it goes right over the heads of the students. I'm sure Dr. K can't relate, but you know, because that is not picked up at all, I think, by Thomasina, but I think that's you in the audience. Like, you're just being cheeky with yourself of like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's because that's where I feel like and then because I think Téa, that way, if we let you still be on the pink is complete, oh my God. And we see how wrapped you are with that. And now you're chewing on that. That allows Jeff to kind of be a little, you know, witty about whatever self-determination is for himself.
Yeah,
and
well,
then you can come right in with, okay, well, if that's the case, then what about God, right? It's like, it's like just when Septimus thinks it's done, you're only quiet for a second because the hard drive is whirring.
yeah,
Right?
There's no pauses. There's no pauses in the brain.
Right.
Yeah, not at all.
And that's what I feel like, Jeff, it's sort of like you're having fun with the tortoise, like, sit, now I can go back to what? God? Okay, we're back. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
All right.
That's again, that's a great little thing that he gives you. It's like, this is what's known as free will or self-determination. He almost says QED, but picking up the turtle and placing it, that's sort of like the QED he said earlier. This is the end of the discussion.
End of discussion. Sit. No more from you. And that's what's so fun. It takes him and it lets him be entertaining for himself as well. That he can't, you know, I think he gets a kick out of himself. A lot of Stoppard's characters do. Lady Croom does, you know, that they have a bit of self satisfaction. And I think that what also occurred to me, Téa, is there's something wonderful with Thomasina about the bright, shiny object. Like, the last question doesn't matter. Only this question.
Now I'm on this one. Like, I don't care about that anymore.
Right. Exactly. There's no previous scene. It's just, okay, here's the only question I want to know. I don't even remember Bryce putting, is God in a Newtonian?
Yeah.
Right. Because this is like
yeah, that's the only thing that matters right now. I think that makes it more that makes it less complicated less complicated in my brain as Téa to be like, okay, this now, boom, this now. It's just like a doom, 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 doom. So like that's great, yeah.
Right, like the dog in Up, squirrel. Right, except it's like quantum mechanics. Right. Yeah. Oh my God. Right.
It's that's a perfect example, actually. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, Jeff, that you make this and then you go into the Etonian. I mean, we'll get into this in a second, but it's funny how, I mean, obviously, you know what she said. But why be puckish at this moment, do you think?
I'm not quite sure.
I don't know either.
He's just, you know, since you pointed out this thing, which is great, this sort of enjoying his own cleverly conclusion of the in the midst of teaching is like, oh yeah, this is funny, and QED and I think he's just still in that. I think that's a mood that carries through. Let's put it.
Yeah. That's fun.
As far as I can get. If you can give me something that's great.
You're still I like that. You're still in that. You're still feeling kind of in that sense of a little full of your oats and you know and having fun. And
yes.
I think I think that's nice because it contrasts with her earnestness.
Yes.
Right. And that you get to be a little more playful.
Yeah.
Brendon,
And
I was wondering, is
Go
there
ahead.
any sense in this speech, what he's saying, going back to the letter? Because he does look at the letter before he says, I'm teaching. And part of me is wondering, is he buying himself a little time, right? He doesn't go overboard on the gun room, but it's weird because he knows what he did. It's Mr. David's wife, right?
Hmm.
He had just asked, is she down yet? That was the question
Right.
of her. Is he down yet? Or is she down yet? No. Then he gets this note, which he actually reads before he responds. So he knows what's in it.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about when he says, time can't run backwards. We must stir our way onward, mixing as we go.
Mm.
He knows what he did. And, you know, he also has in his hand a note from Mr. Chater. Can't turn back time. He did a thing. And free will or self-determination, like he's made a choice about what he did there. So I wonder if there's both the teaching moment for her, but you know, he's thinking personally about his own actions and what he did and stirring things up.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's almost like
That's good.
what you get, like horrible news, and then like a 5-year-old child comes up to you and is like, look at like my drawing of the sun, like oh my gosh, like all my rays. And you're just like, "Ah, I just lost my job." But like, oh my gosh, look at the orange and red there, and wow. And like you don't even notice like what they're saying, but you're just like, yup, like you're like a great drawer. But it's still in the back of your head of like, this
Yeah.
thing is like weighing down on you. So yeah, I was definitely thinking that too as well. So such a great point.
Well, and he is as the serpent. I mean, you say, Jeff, this is going to connect to what you say, Jennifer, in that next scene we're studying. What I hear under what you just said, Kate, is the next step after the serpent is banishment. You know, it's like it's I mean, whether this is fully conscious or not, but a sense of have I is there no going back from this, and is this going to be, you know, because if Noakes is the serpent, he's savvy, he's smarter than Chater, right, and what does he want, or what is he gonna say? And so now that's worrying in the back of your mind. And so I like that maybe there's something fun, Jeff, when we come back to it, of like the way that you use all that language of my answers, my custom, my duty to your lordship. Is there a little bit of a sense of trying to deal with what you just read and taking it out on Jellaby a little bit? You know what I mean? Not in a super harsh way, but you know, there's just something to explore there, I guess.
Yes. And I think, you know, it's poor Jellaby, it's the go-between. He has to communicate all this back to him. So I guess I'm telling Jellaby how, rather than just saying, I'll meet him at 1 o'clock, you know, tell him 1 o'clock, or I understand this thing. He goes through this long thing so that Jellaby can, in his inimitable way, you know, get at Chater, you know.
Yes, exactly.
I don't
You know, no, I like that. I mean, making a bigger deal out of the fact that what has been interrupted here is important and sacred, and you know, and hoping that Jellaby sends that across of like, I'm not someone that can just be talked to in a gun room whenever someone wants. You know, I am. There's you're sort of building up what's happening here.
Right. So Septimus, I'm not upset at Jellaby, but my upsetness has to be carried by him back to Chater, kind of thing. Is that what's going on?
Kicking up that dust. Exactly.
Well, and he may not be eager to have a chat with the husband of the woman that he just slept with.
True.
Right.
Right.
And that way it's true. And you do give a specific time, like, I am not leaving right now. I am free at this time, you know, and there's a sense of my time is important with Thomasina. So I'm not going to, because he probably said in the letter, you know, it's urgent. I demand to see you right now. And no, that's not going to happen.
And isn't it cool then how much of the rest of the conversation is about time? And how time works.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a great point, Kate, because at the end of this session with Thomasina, you're gonna have to go to the gun room. And meanwhile, she's blissfully unaware, but everything she's bringing up does circle back to, so do I have free will? Was that meant to happen? What happens next? And I think so maybe this just can, I mean, but I think there's still the opportunity if you're being a little playful here, maybe Jeff, maybe Septimus needs to try to stay upbeat to keep the ball in the air for his own psyche too. That maybe you
Yes.
need to stay light.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, I think it's kind of both. I think he stays light. I think he's perhaps sees the irony in it, but Septimus doesn't seem too worried about dealing with Chater because of the way he actually does deal with him later, which is to say,
Sure.
Your wife is so humid that you can grow orchids in her knickers in January. He says that to him. And he's so clever that he manages to make it like, oh, I can't shoot you because you're such a great poet. He just, he may not want to, in the scales of this, I think it really is really important that he gives all this time to Thomasina, right? That, as you've been saying, it's kind of sacred. So yes, he'd rather not do this, but he will, and he will go to the gun room, except Chater, bursts in here. It's just, seeing how he handles it when it actually comes to the point. He doesn't seem to be too worried about dealing with Chater.
No, and that's true. What I would just add to that is maybe part of what gets your mojo back or in is having this rest of the scene with Thomasina.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So that it does ramp you up to deal with Chater fully in that saucy way that you can. Because you're in the zone with Thomasina. Do you know what I mean? And like, I've got this with her, I've got it with Chater, because I think to me, it's a Shakespeare scene. The way that Stoppard writes these long scenes where you have people going in and out, right? We could have done a separate scene with you and Chater, but instead, I love that you don't get a chance to breathe, right? Like some of those Act 4 Shakespeare scenes. So you have to go right into, well, I dealt with her and I'll deal with you. So I think it's yes and what you're saying, Jeff. Just like, let's use this. If you're feeling a little shaky, all this stuff with Thomasina can give you, can make you feel centered. Can feel like I've got this. If I can handle her and talking about time and everything else, I can handle.
She's really smart, unlike Chater.
Right. So this is then it's like with Chater, it's like the bunny slope. You know what I mean? And you. Oh, and I didn't even mean to do that. The bunny slope. Sorry, it's this stuff comes out. All right. So let's go back to let's try a little bit of that from the let's go from where we left from the same place. How about when Jellaby comes in with I am on 8.
Yeah.
I am teaching Jellaby.
Oh, from there, okay. I'm teaching Jellaby.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Hodge. Mr. Chater said it was urgent you receive his letter.
Oh, very well. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chater asked me to bring him your answer.
My answer? Well, my answer is that, as is my custom and my duty to his lordship, I am engaged until 11:45 in the education of his daughter. When I'm done, and if Mr. Chater is still there, I will be happy to wait upon him in the gun room.
I will tell him so. Thank you, sir.
What is for dinner, Jellaby?
Boiled ham and cabbages, milady. And rice pudding.
Oh, goody.
So much for Mr. Noakes. Puts himself forward as a gentleman, a philosopher of the picturesque, a visionary who can move mountains and cause lakes. But in the scheme of the garden, he is the serpent.
When you stir your rice pudding, Septimus, the spoonful of jam spreads itself round, making red trails like the picture of a meteor in my astronomical atlas. But if you stir backward, the jam will not come together again. Indeed, the pudding does not notice and continues to turn pink just as before. Do you think this is odd?
No,
Well, I do. You cannot stir things apart.
no more you can. Time must needs run backward, and since it will not, we must stir our way onward, mixing as we go, disorder out of disorder and into disorder until the pink is complete, unchanging and unchangeable, and we are done with it forever. This is known as free will or self-determination. Sit.
Septimus, do you think God is a Newtonian?
An Etonian, almost certainly, I'm afraid. We must ask your brother to make it his first inquiry.
No, Septimus, a Newtonian. Septimus? Am I the first person to have thought of this?
No.
I have not said yet.
If everything from the furthest planet to the smallest atom of our brain acts according to Newton's law of motion, what becomes of free will?
No.
God's will.
No.
Sin?
No.
Very well.
If you could stop every atom in its position and direction, and if your mind could comprehend all the actions thus suspended, then if you were really, really good at algebra, you could write the formula for all the future. And although nobody can be so clever so to do it, the formula must exist just as if one could.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
As far as I know, you are the first person to have thought of this. In the margin of his copy of the Arithmetica, Fermat wrote that he had discovered a wonderful proof of his theorem, but the margin being too narrow for his purpose, did not have room to write it down. The note was found after his death, and from that day to this...
Oh! I see now. The answer is perfectly obvious.
This time you may have overreached yourself.
Great, great. Yes. And what is and Téa, what is it? What is obvious to her?
That is such a good question.
What's the answer?
Let me see. No, keep going, keep going. I don't want to cut you off.
Well, I mean, I wonder because a couple of lines later, after Chater comes in, you say, Septimus says, "My lady, take from on the music room. There'll be an extra spoonful of jam if you can find his proof." And you say there is no proof. The thing that's perfectly obvious is that the note was a joke to make you all mad.
Oh, to think that there, yes.
So I love that she's like, it's a prank.
It was a
It's
joke.
It's a total. So I love that then, and then you seem so cocky about it that's when Septimus was like, okay, yes, you're brilliant, but
because I misunderstand it, but she's again like a kid, right? Sort of a kid would think, oh, I get it, it's a joke,
right?
It's a joke. You don't get the joke.
Yeah,
right. But that's something I think that's something you would do, Thomasina, right? It would be like that would be so awesome, and then you just be going round and round trying to figure it out.
Like on one of my homework problems, I just like do something super specific and it's like, didn't you get it? The answer was 0. Isn't that so funny? Like, no, it's not. No.
Total math geek humor. Exactly.
Literally.
This is like you
yes, yes.
I love that. I love that.
But I think you really hit on something there, Téa, of how did that feel with the way that like you were attacking her with such vibrancy and this sense of like throwing herself at the questions?
Yeah.
How did that work for you?
It kept me like out of my head as far as I think the thing that would be the most obvious, it would be for me to lean into her being, into her knowing that she's so smart and like taking that in like my everyday. But I think I wanted to go the way of I'm 13 years old. Like I know a lot of things, but I'm 13 years old. So like yes, I'm smart, but it's also like I want to I just want to learn things. So I think just going towards the way of learning more instead of the way of I know everything is just gonna it just like open me up to just be less snooty as far as like an academic 13-year-old is how I was thinking about
Right, right. And also makes you too mature otherwise, too, right?
it.
Like,
Yeah.
we're going to see her age in the course of the play, but this is when she's at her youngest, and her her brain is operating on some quantum level, but her body and her emotions are that sense of the sponge. I think I love that. Like you're saying, the learning is everything.
Yeah.
Like it's and it's like yes and keep going more. It's like there's a I notice this kind of hunger, this feeling of like wanting to just always go further.
Yeah.
That's not satisfied. But also I think you're starting to really explore how actively she listens as much as talks. Like she
Yeah.
has no filter.
No, I think it's like I think it's kind of the I think me and Septimus are both in like filtering the conversation in our own way. Like Septimus is hearing like all these existential things about time and like I might die if I leave when I leave this room and I'm like, okay, oh yeah, like that word. So this is my next question. But like I'm not hearing about anything else. So I feel like it's kind of that back and forth of if you were to replay it and Thomasina's head and Septimus's head, what just went on, it would be like totally different. So I think that's also super fun.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
Love that. There's editing going on both your parts, right? Because, which is
Yeah.
very true, right? Like we hear what we want to hear. We're just picking out the parts that are important to us. We're like blah blah blah. Oh, let's talk about that. Blah blah blah. You know. And I love how actively bored you were with the whole thing with Chater and the letter. We're like, I'm in the zone. What is happening? Come
Oh my
on,
God. Yeah.
Jellaby. This sucks. And it's like, right? That unedited. Yeah. What about me? What about me? Bring it back to me. He's right.
Yeah.
Listen to Septimus. You know,
Yeah.
and that's like so we know that something is going on Septimus and there's something odd with the gun room and there's unusual stuff happening, but I love to see how much can fly over her head too, you know, that there's
Yeah.
frequencies that she's just not
Yeah. I didn't
attuned
even think
to.
of that. Mm-hmm. Just rice pudding. That's all I heard.
Jen, what do you have?
It struck me, and this may have already occurred to you, but while I was listening to the arguments that they're both on their own trains that somehow like are running parallel, but not like different, but that the argument that Thomasina puts forward philosophically is the opposite of the one that he put forward, because he ends his speech with, so that's self-determination or free will.
Mm-hmm.
But if I understand these philosophies correctly, where she says if we could freeze time and write that, that would be the opposite of free will. It would mean there's a formula
Oh yeah.
where everything
Yeah.
is in fact predetermined,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So that you don't actually have, like from a physics point of view, then you wouldn't have free will because it is actually all predetermined. So it's interesting, even if they're having like through different context lenses, it's the opposing viewpoint, I think, if I'm understanding their arguments correctly. Like this, like
Yeah.
if there is an exact
Yeah.
mathematical equation, then it is in fact predetermined,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it is.
Uh,
Definitely.
I love that.
I'm sort of
That's
talking
you,
about chaos, and she's talking about a formula.
Mm-hmm.
that
Right,
you
which
can
is
comprehend all
the
the actions.
opposite
Yeah.
of her rice pudding.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So those
Except
two
that
things would be in conflict. Yeah.
Jellaby is going right from interrupting this lesson to the kitchen to tell them to put rice pudding on the menu.
Oh.
Because he's
Yes.
interrupted it, so it's not determined. He
Uh,
makes that up in the moment.
Oh my God.
there's free will
That's
by
so
Jellaby.
great.
Yes. I love that. It's well, it really is beautiful too. Just those little moments I feel like of humanity, of watching you, Jamie and Téa, just that choice to drop in the rice pudding and the reaction you gave, Téa, and that is as important as any theory. You know, like the moments we see right now between you and the servant tell us a lot about Thomasina, right? That she does not stand on ceremony. She doesn't care about status. She's just like jealousy. You know, Jellaby's one of your buds. You know, like hook me up. And I love that there's that love there that can happen among the whole family. That you've grown up with this guy.
Yeah.
He's just,
Yeah,
but not in a way that's like he's over there.
She's like in a constant state of ecstasy of ideas, ecstasy of thought, ecstasy of rice pudding is coming, whatever that is. It's like there's this just ecstasy that surrounds her.
That's great.
Well, it reminds me a little bit of a nephew I had a couple of years ago. I think maybe when he was like around five or six, his favorite phrase was, "What's this?"
Yeah.
Everything was like, "What's this? What's this? What's this?" And I thought about this tonight with Thomasina.
Yeah.
Right? It's constant, like you were saying, Jamie, of like turning over rocks and what does this mean? And I was struck by that childlike wonder of no agenda. No, I want this to fit into a certain worldview. And I will, when you stumble on something, like, I guess that's it, right? This whole idea, but there should be able to be a theory. And I think the one thing I want to leave you with that we can explore next week is that for you, Jeff, that moment of you disclosing Fermat and the theorem, right? And that near the end, I suddenly have this image of like, it's like, the longer you tutor her, the more you realize, maybe, Jeff, that you can go to new places to share with her these new ideas. Like, another question of why is this day different than any other day? Today is the day you decide to share this with her. That might have been 3 years from now.
Mhm.
But what just happened the last 5-10 minutes, okay, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like fry your circuits, but I'm gonna move you from undergrad to grad student here. And I know you're 13, and she goes with it, right? Except then she reacts like, "Oh, I've got it," and then that's like, well, you got a little cocky there. But does that make sense? Like, it's a chance that we can explore next week of like, oh my God, now there's more treasure. There's more things to discover.
Yeah.
And more to discover next week.
This was wonderful. I am such a giddy audience member over here, and I'll try to say this succinctly. I mentioned I played the part of Septimus. There can be this mourning period sometimes where you discover, oh, I missed so many things about the part that I played. And I will say it's been completely eclipsed, that feeling, by just seeing the joy each of you are experiencing, going, oh, yes, I can do it. Yes, yeah, let me do that. I mean, like, it's so exciting and so much fun to see. And that's why we're doing this. Just the specificity you can get to of just like, well, what are we doing with this moment and what can we do here? And Jamie just, creating that example of like, Jellaby deciding in that moment to put rice, I mean, it's just such a perfect example of, they always talk about having a secret, the actor, like the audience doesn't need to know what you're doing as long as you know what you're doing. And it just fills it with so much more life. And it's just so exciting, so much fun. And it's the basic stuff of acting of like, what is this moment and what are we doing here? And what does it mean? But to, for you guys to take the time and really go through it, it's so much fun to watch, and it just brings it so much to life. And yes, it's tinged with that. Oh, that's what they were talking about in that moment. How could I have missed that? Oh man! But it's great. It's wonderful. So yeah, no, just really, really loving this and enjoying it. So thank you very much for continuing to illuminate the play to me, who did it. So it's great. So
well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for another great week.
Thanks.
Excited to see you all next week.
See you next week. Great to be here this week.
See you. Good to see you, Jamie.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.